All right, Assalamu alaikum everyone. Uh, this is Fasi, and inshallah we are going to talk about different types of visas to come to US. Only US, no other country. If you remember last time we had a student visa session for all over the world, but this session is limited only to US visas. So I'll just go to the US website to show where the information I'm collecting from. I'm trying to give you the authentic information. I'm not trying to bluff something. So this is the official US government website. Department of State means like it's the External Affairs, Ministry of External Affairs in India. So this is the department which decides who should get the visa, what kind of visa, what kind of purpose of coming to US and all those things, right? So this website is showing you what is US visa and other information. So let me move out of this website and I'll go to my PowerPoint presentation. I have collected the information to present here for this session. Okay. Is it good now?
Yes.
Okay. So we are going to talk about types of visas and a little bit of information about interviews. Okay. Interview changes from visa type to visa type. So to start with, there are two types of visas to come to US, the immigrant visas and non-immigrant visas. So the immigrant visa means someone wants to come to US and live in US forever, never go back. And if they want to go back, they might go back, but their intent is to come here and stay here forever. Non-immigrant visa means temporary people are going to come here. It may be a week, it may be a day, it may be few years, but they have to go back. So those are the two different types of visas. Remember that, immigrant visas and non-immigrant visas. For non-immigrant visas, they have to prove they will go back. Why I am telling now is there are so many types of non-immigrant visas. I don't have to repeat this sentence again for each visa. When they go for an interview, the interviewer, the visa officer is going to ask them, what's the guarantee you will go back? So you have to prove by documentation, by your words, by your sentences, you will be going back after completion of whatever the purpose of travel you have. Okay. So all the non-immigrant visas, by default, it is expected from the candidate who is applying for the visa, they will go back and they have to prove they will go back. Immigrant visas, they don't have to prove they will go back, but there are other questions they will ask, right? So in visa interviews, the important aspect is what type of visa you are applying, immigrant versus non-immigrant. So majority of the people who come to US, they will come on non-immigrant visa. So I'll try to cover non-immigrant first, then I'll go to immigrant visas. So non-immigrant, under non-immigrant visas, a lot of people come to US for employment, because whenever people are moving from India, especially India to US, the primary purpose is they want to get employed, they want to work here, they want to make money. They might go back or not, that is different, but majority of the people coming from India, they want to come to US for some kind of a work. So what are the different types of visas which comes under employment category? Non-immigrant visa and employment category. So under non-immigrant visa, there are H visa like H1, H3, H2, H4, H3, and L1, L2, O visa, P visa, and Q visa. So these are the different types of non-immigrant job visas. So under non-immigrant, again, job and non-job, there are two different types. So the majority of the people who come to US on job visa, they are on H-1B visa, the first one. So this is the majority of the people come to US from India on job visa. So I can give you a few simple examples. You are in India and you have some extraordinary abilities. If you read the first line, person in specialty occupation. So here, if you see specialty occupation, they have defined as higher education degree or its equivalent. And they have given some other examples here. So this text I have just copy pasted from the website, but I'm going to give you specific examples. You are working for a company called Tata Consultancy Services, TCS. You are working for Wipro in India. You are working for Microsoft in India. You are working for any big international company in India, multinational company, and that company is willing to send you to US on permanent basis, not temporary basis, permanent basis. So company thinks you are going to go to US on long term. Long term means maybe 6 years, 10 years, but not for 6 months, not for 1 year. And within the company, you are going to US on permanent basis, but it's a non-immigrant visa. H-1 visa is a non-immigrant visa. So what they have to do, if you see at the end, I have added DOL and USCIS. So there are two requirements. There are two prerequisites for this visa. The employer is a multinational company, for example, Wipro, and Wipro has office in US. So in US, the Wipro is going to apply with the Department of Labor. DOL means Department of Labor. So you can note down, otherwise you can do Google search after the session. So the employer is going to submit an application with Department of Labor in US, telling that we need an employee in US working for my company Wipro, working for my clients in US, and I'm not finding that kind of a candidate in US. You see, person in specialty occupation means you are so special, they are not able to find a candidate in US. The company has to prove, company has to submit in writing. We did extensive research in US to find the candidate, and we are not able to find such a person in US. So Department of Labor has to approve. Yes, they did the research, they have exhausted all their options, they are not finding the person for that particular work, and allow them to bring a person from outside of US, for example, India. Once DOL, Department of Labor, approves H-1B application, they will go to USCIS, United States Citizenship and Immigration Services. USCIS is a competent authority in US to approve H-1B application. So the employer is going to go to USCIS and say that my company is doing very good business in US. We have so many clients, we have so much of business, we have a lot of money, and we need a person in this particular specialty occupation. And this person has a lot of education, a lot of experience. We are not able to find similar person in US. Then USCIS approves that particular visa. And there is a limitation here. The limitation is every year, only 65,000 people can come from anywhere in the world. Out of those 65,000, there are 5,000 or 10,000 reserved only for Singapore. So only 55,000 is available for India or other countries, rest of the world. Within those 55,000, people apply, a lot of people apply, so there will be competition. So the application date starts on April 1st. On April 1st, the employers can apply. So what they do is they will prepare all the documentation before April 1st, and they apply on April 1st, or if April 1st is holiday, they will apply on March 31st or March 30, whatever the date it is. Once they apply, USCIS is going to go through the lottery because there is a lot of competition. Instead of 55,000, 200,000 people are applying, 2 lakh people are applying. So they do a lottery, and within that lottery, they will figure out, okay, these are the applications we found in the lottery. Once the lottery is going to pick you, they are going to process that application. The USCIS is going to process the application. Process in the sense, they are going to see whether you really have that kind of a specialty, what the company is describing. Do you have that kind of experience? Company definitely has a work and money here. Then they will approve. Once they approve, you will go to the US consulate in India. It may be Delhi, Kolkata, whatever the area you live in. And you go for the visa interview. In visa interview, again, the officer is going to check your documentation. They are going to check your status. They are going to check your experience certificates, your salary certificates, your bank statements, to make sure you really have that much of experience, genuine experience. It's not a fake experience. And they are going to ask some questions about yourself, your education, your experience, your company in US and company in India. When they think you are the genuine candidate, they are going to approve your visa. It's a H-1B visa. So the people who are coming on H-1B, they can bring their wife or husband, the spouse, and children on H-4 visa. And the people who are coming to US on H-4 visa, they cannot work, but their children can go to schools in US for free. There is no charge. And they have to pay taxes in US as if they are US citizens. There's no difference between tax for H-1B visa versus US citizens. So that is about H-1 visa. And at the end, we might want to discuss more, but that's what the H-1 visa is all about. And under H-1B, again, there are some special visas. As I said, you see there is a Chile and Singapore. In those countries, they have some kind of numbers reserved, like 5,000 or 10,000 number. And people from those countries have reserved those number, come from that reserved quota. There is a H-2 visa. Rarely people come from India on this visa, H-2 visa. It's a temporary agricultural worker. So if you see that sentence, limited to citizens of nationals of designated countries. So only for few countries it is open, not for every country. So no Indians are coming from India using H-2A or H-2B. Agricultural, non-agricultural worker. So these visas are not available. I have never seen people coming from India using these visas because we are not under those designated countries. And there is a H-3 visa. So if someone is planning to come to US on a training, there is a H-3 visa. And the last visa is L visa here. In this particular slide, the last visa is L visa. There is a L1, L2, intra-company transferee. If you see here that the sentence, what it says is to work at a branch, parent, affiliate, or subsidiary of a current employer in a managerial or executive capacity or in a position requiring to specialized knowledge, individual must have been employed by the same employer abroad continuously for 1 year within 3 preceding years. So this is another visa. A lot of people come from India. A lot of means if 10,000 people are coming on H-1 visa, there may be like 1,000 people coming on L visa, maybe 500 people coming on L visa, L1 visa or L2 visa. So within L, you will see there are so many different types of L visas. Again, I will go back to the same previous example. You are working for a Wipro or Microsoft or some other company in India. You are a permanent employee of their company. For many years you are working. And that company is willing to send you to US on temporary basis. Temporary can be again 1 year or 3 years, but the intention is non-immigrant. And even company is also willing to send you on temporary basis. The H visa was permanent and L visa is not permanent here. And if you see the difference between first visa, the H-1 visa has to go through Department of Labor and USCIS. So 2 departments have to approve that visa. But if you see L visa, there is no Department of Labor here because you are coming to US on temporary basis, not permanent basis. So you are not going to go through the Department of Labor application. Only USCIS application has to be approved. So company goes to USCIS and says, I need my manager in US for some time. So once you apply to USCIS, if USCIS approves, you will go to US consulate in India and you will apply for this L visa. And again, L1 has a dependency option. So the spouse and children of L visa holder can come to US. It may be L1 or L2, whatever. They can come here and stay with the employee of that company. And if you see here, majority of the people who come here, they will claim they are the manager, they are the executive, for example, vice president of the company, owner of the company, CEO of the company. They can come to US on L visa, and it's a temporary transfer by the company. It's not a permanent transfer. That is the big difference between H1 visa and L1 visa. H visa is a permanent transfer by the company. L visa is a temporary transfer, intra-company transfer, okay? There are other visas. Rarely people use these visas, but I know some people who use these visas. So O visa. O visa is individual with extraordinary ability or achievement. For example, you are Sachin Tendulkar and you are coming to US. Otherwise, you are Ravish Kumar of NDTV coming to US. Otherwise, you are like a Milkha Singh. I don't know how many people are there. So you have some extraordinary ability. For persons with extraordinary ability, achievement in science, for example, you are a scientist, you are working for some big scientific research in a pharmaceutical company. You are doing some kind of a big research in cancer. You are in science, arts, education, business, athletics, or extraordinary recognized achievement in the motion picture. For example, you are a film actor, Shah Rukh Khan. Television fields, some television actors. So you have to prove you are one of those special people and you are willing to come to US. It's a non-immigrant visa. You are not planning to come here and stay here for lifelong, right? So it's a non-immigrant visa. You are planning to come to US for some time, but you can work here legally. Legally, you can work in US. That is the O visa. It's a job visa, but it's a non-immigrant visa, right? That's what the O visa is about. So if you are so special, then you can come here and you have to prove you are so special, right? And P visa is for athletics. So this visa, in generally, if you see, the entire team is going to come. For example, cricket team. So 15 people are coming and someone is coming, for example, coach of the team. Otherwise, you have a football team or some athletics, right? Member of entertainment group. So some people are coming, for example, A.R. Rahman is coming, and along with him, the group of people are coming with him who are going to do some kind of a musical instrument. So each person is going to apply for the visa. So entire group gets approval. A.R. Rahman and all his musicians are coming to US, right? Member of entertainment group. So there is some athletic competition. Otherwise, they are going to do some kind of an entertainment program here. And to get this visa, again, you have to have an international recognition. So A.R. Rahman got the award. So he can say, I'm going to take these 15 people with me, and all of them will going to get the P1 visa. Similar to that, P2 is again artist or entertainer. P3 again artist, individual entertainer. And these have to again go through USCIS approval. Once USCIS approves, then you will go to US consulate in India and you will get the visa. And the last one here is the Q1, participant in international cultural exchange program. So here you see people are coming for employment. They are going to work here. Legally, they are going to work here. and they are going to, there are some specific examples here. Sharing of history, culture, tradition in your home country. So for example, someone is going to come here for cooking. So they are going to come here and show how the Indian cooking is. Someone is going to come here and show how the Indian music is. Someone is coming here to show what are the different types of clothing in India we have, like for example, saris and other different types of clothing, right? So you are trying to demonstrate the history or culture or some kind of other things. So it's a international cultural exchange program. So in that aspect, you will get the Q1 visa if you have that kind of a specialty. And another type of non-immigrant visa, but this is not a job visa. Yes.
Yeah, hi, sir. The thing is, your voice was not audible for me. Can you please repeat it?
Okay. You want to repeat all the job visas? You are not able to hear anything?
Yeah.
Okay.
Are you explaining about the F1 visa as well?
No.
Only for job visas.
Yeah, I have explained about only job visas so far.
Sir, have you explained F1 visa?
No, that is coming next.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So the next non-immigrant and non-job visa. This is not a job visa. The previous visas I was talking about, they were job visas. So this visa is a non-immigrant and non-job visa. People who are coming on this visa, they cannot work in US. It's a business visa, tourism visa, visit visa. So if you see the first line, it's a foreign national traveling to US on tourism. So someone wants to come and visit different places and they want to go back. So your visit can be a day, your visit can be a week, your visit can be a long-term visit, 6 months maximum. So in total 365 days, less than half you are going to stay in US, more than half you are going to stay in your home country. So in most of you, the home country is India. So that is the important information about the visitor visa or business visa or tourism visa. So under this, people are going to come for medical treatment. They are going to come for some kind of a athletics, or so for example, you have won some kind of a competition and they are going to give you an award in US. So you are coming here to receive the award and you will go back. You are sick and you don't have a treatment in India, you are going to come to here for the treatment and you will go back. Otherwise, you have a family here, you are trying to visit the family. For example, my mother is trying to visit me. So they are going to use this business visa, tourist visa. Tourist visa, business visa, both are B1, B2. It's a business, they call it as a business visa, right? And real business means you are working for a company in India and that company is having a meeting in US for a day or a week, and you will come here, attend the meeting, you will go back. But you are not going to work here. Okay. And the next one is non-immigrant visa again, but this is the student visa. So before I talk more about the student visa, we had a separate session and it is recorded, uploaded on YouTube. And that video is, that particular session was dedicated 1 hour session only on student visa. And that session covers the student visa to across the world, not just US, okay? But anyway, I'm going to cover a little bit here. So here the students are going to come on 2 different visas, either F1 or M1. And people who are going to come on F1 visa, if they can prove they have enough resources, they can bring their spouse and children on F2 visa, right? So here it says F1 visa means.
Like, I didn't get you.
So for example, I am coming to US on F1 visa, right? and I want to bring my wife and my children, and I have to prove I have money to support them, then my wife and children are going to get F2 visa. It's a dependent visa for the person who is coming to US for education, not for the job. So the difference between F and M is F1 visa means you can come to a university and you can complete your education and you can join another program. For example, you came here for the bachelor's, you want to do master's, you can continue with the master's. After master's, you want to do PhD, you can do that. You came to university A and you want to move to university B, yes, you can do that using F1 visa. But M1 visa is just a temporary visa for just 1 year. You are coming here for some vocational program or some kind of a training program, and you are going to finish that, you will go back. You cannot change the university, you cannot change the course, you cannot change the college, you cannot do higher education. That is the difference between F1 and M1. So that's why majority of the people coming from India, they use F1 visa. And majority of the people who are coming to US on F1 are coming for masters or PhD. Rarely people come for bachelors. And before I go to next slide, if you have any questions, I'm here to answer.
So the thing is, if we go for F1 visa, like then after that, how much of duration we can call to our spouse and all? In how much duration?
Duration, there is no duration limitation. So for example, your student visa is approved for 5 years. Your spouse and children also get the 5 years approval, and they can stay with you as long as they want to stay here. So it may be 3 months, it may be 3 years. So for example, you are doing PhD and your course is going on for 5 years. They can also stay with you. The only condition for the dependents is the visa officer, before giving the visa in India, they are going to make sure you have money, you have resources to support your spouse and children. Because when your family is coming, you need a bigger house. When your family is coming, you have to feed them, and they are not allowed to work in US. So you have to show you have enough funds to support them. But there is no limitation. They can stay here as long as they want to stay here.
Okay, but they can't do a job.
Yes.
After completing 5 years, how can we extend that visa during?
You have to again apply for the visa, which means you are going to go to any consulate. You can go, for example, you are in US for 5 years and you did not complete your education. Otherwise, you have registered in another program. So you can go to neighboring countries. For example, you can go to Mexico, you can go to Canada, you can go to Bahamas, and there in US consulate, you can extend your visa. But as long as you are in US, you can continue staying here by extending your status.
But the thing is, why can't the dependent work there in US?
That is the law. We cannot go against the law, right?
Okay.
So that is the law.
If someone will get the F1 visa after he or his approval, so then after she reached the US, then can she request the university to for the to bring her children and all, to allow my husband and all?
Yes.
Okay,
But
then can
university is not going to do anything. You have to prove you have money. For example, you are a millionaire in India and you have like $5 million in a bank. Otherwise, you are coming here, but your dad has $5 million in India. And your dad is going to say, for my daughter and her husband, her children, I'm here to pay as long as they are in US for their education, for their stay, for their food, for their travel, everything I'm going to pay. and you have to prove. So if you can prove that, you can bring them. And yes, as you said, you have to get the approval from university also. But university is okay. University is going to give the approval, but you have to prove you have funds to support that.
Yeah, if you have funds as well as if you have the land in here in India, so does it it will be advantage for us to get a visa?
Yeah, if you have funds, the person who is coming here for the education, their fee has to be covered first, their accommodation has to be covered next, and their children and their spouse accommodation and their expenses have to be covered, because no one is allowed to work in US.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's go to next one. Rarely people use this visa, but it's a transit visa. So for example, I'll give my example. I was coming from US to India, and I wanted to go through Germany because there was no direct flight in those days. And I have to go through London or Germany or some other country. So I have to get the transit visa to that particular country. So for example, someone is traveling on a cruise, and that cruise is a multinational cruise. They are going to go from India to US, US to Brazil, Brazil to Antarctica or something. So you are planning to come to US for 1 day or 1 hour or 1 week, but your purpose of travel is transit, because you are going through countries to reach your destination. Otherwise, you are just a traveler across the world. So transit visa means people are going from country to country, and in between, they have to stay for 1 hour or 1 week or 1 day in US. So that is the transit visa. And if you see here, immediate and continuous transit. And non-immigrant, under the non-immigrant visas, there is a TN visa. So for example, what happened is you went from India to Canada, and you stayed in Canada for years, maybe 3 years, 10 years, whatever the time it is, and you became Canadian citizen. Otherwise, similarly, you went to India to Mexico, and in Mexico, you worked for a long time. And in Mexico, you became Mexican citizen, Mexican passport, you have a Mexican passport. You can come to US on non-immigrant visa. The visa type is called TN visa. And there is an agreement between Mexico, Canada, and US. And these three countries have decided people from Mexico can come to US and work here, and they go back to Mexico. It's a non-immigrant visa. People from Canada can come from Canada to US, and they work here for some time, and they go back to Canada. So it's a work visa. It's a non-immigrant visa, and it is allowed only for the citizens of Canada and Mexico. So that is the TN visa. So in future, if you land into Mexico and or Canada, and you get the citizenship of that country, you can come to US and work here. Legally, you can come here and work here. It's a non-immigrant visa, and it's a work visa. And it's a professional visa. It's not a labor visa. And non-immigrant official government visa. So I was trying to explain all the types of visas. This visa might not be applicable to many of you, but if you become a, for example, you have written an exam called IFS, Indian Foreign Service, like Indian Administrative Service, you became a diplomat in India, and Indian government is planning to send you to US on official business trip. So you will get a visa. So a visa is a diplomat visa. For that, you have to have a diplomatic passport from India, or if you are some other country citizen, for example, you went from India to Canada and you became Canadian citizen, and Canadian government is planning to send you to US on official business. So you will be able to apply for the A visa. It is only for the foreign officials and the diplomats, and it's a non-immigrant visa again. And you are coming on official government trip. And for the NATO countries, there is a NATO visa, but all others, it's a or G. Again, one more non-immigrant visa, but it's a kind of a job visa in between. So here, it's an exchange visitor visa, J visa. So I have seen some people coming to US, they are teachers. For example, someone is having a PhD, someone is having a master's in education, master's in science, master's in mathematics, some kind of a MPhil. So they have specialty of occupation, and also they are teachers, they are professors, and they are coming here. For example, you are doing PhD, you are doing some research. As part of your research, you have to come to US for a few months. For example, 3 months, you are coming here and do some research here. But the difference between other visas and this visa is you can come here and legally earn money, right? So you can come, for example, the business visa, B visa, I said, you can come here, but you cannot work here. But these people on J visa, they can come here and they can work here for limited number of years. For example, 1 year, 2 years, and they have to go back. But H visa is not like that. L visa is not like that. For L visa, you can stay here for a long time. For H visa, you can come here for a long time. For J visa, you can come here, work for some time, and then go back. Majority of the times I have seen people who are school teachers or university professors, they come here and they work here for some time and they go back. And another non-immigrant visa is a media visa. So for example, you are working for a television company in India and they are sending you to US to cover the news. Some big event is happening. For example, some big event is happening in UNO. And the journalists from all over the world are traveling to US to cover that media event. It's a political event or media event or some event is happening here. And you are coming here to cover that. For example, Olympic Games are happening in US and you are a journalist. You are working for a newspaper company in India and you have all the proofs to prove you are working for that company. You can apply for this I visa. It's a job visa. You can work here, you can earn here. Another job visa is a trade or treaty visa. Most of the times this is applicable to people from Australia or other countries, not for Indians, but it's a job visa. So for example, you are Indian citizen and you went to Australia for your master's program and you got the permanent residency in Australia. Then you got the US Australian citizenship. You are Australian citizen and you are planning to come to US on specialty occupation, you will get the E3 visa. You don't have to apply for H1 visa anymore because H1 visa has a limitation of 55,000, but E3 visa, there is no such limitation. So what again you have to do is your employer is going to submit to Department of Labor, then they will submit to USCIS and they can bring you on E3 visa. It's an E visa. It's a job visa. It's a non-immigrant visa. Other non-immigrant visas, religious worker. For example, you work in a temple in India or church in India or a masjid in India, and you are planning to come to US to work in similar capacity. So the temple priest in India wants to come to US and do temple priest job in US. It's a job visa, right? Otherwise, you are working in a masjid in India, you have a master's degree in Islamic education, and you want to come to US in a masjid to do the religious worker job. Otherwise, someone is working in a church in India and they have some kind of experience, knowledge, education from university, and they are planning to come to US in a working in a church. And there is some church in US who is trying to sponsor their visa. It's a R visa, religious visa is a R visa. Again, these people, they can bring their spouse and children. One other visa is a crew member. For example, you are a pilot and you are working for an airline company. you will be able to get the C visa. So your employer is going to pay in your country. For example, you are working for Emirates Airlines. You will get the money in terms of UAE currency. You are not going to get the money in US dollars. You are not going to pay taxes in US dollars. So any number of times you can fly to US. Whenever the plane comes, you will come as a pilot to US, stay for 1 or 2 days, and you will leave. So it's a crew member. You are working for a shipping company, and the shipping company is going to send you for a month. So from India to US, you are going to travel for 3 to 6 months, whatever the time it takes to sail. I don't know how much time it takes. But after coming here, you might stay here for a week or a month. Then you will go back in the next ship. So it's a crew member, aircraft or a ship. And there are some humanitarian visas, special situations, and those are all special situations. But they are all again non-immigrant visas. Next section, I'm moving to immigrant visas, and in between, if you have any questions, I can answer. You can type if you want to type.
Yes. Hi, my name is Akshay.
Yes, Akshay.
So as you're going to explain about immigrant visas, like I've joined the meeting a bit late. So can you explain going forward about the types of job visas under immigrant?
In immigrant visa, there are some job visas, but majority of the job visas are non-immigrant visas.
Mhm.
Okay, when I'm going to immigrant visa, I'm going to explain what is job immigrant visa. Okay.
Okay. You can also explain about non-immigrant visas if that's possible, like if you have the time for it.
Okay, yeah. Let me go back and cover at the end, because I have already spoke about all the job visas in the beginning itself.
Okay, sure.
I'll go back at the end. So
Yeah.
here in immigrant visas, the first type of visa is immediate relative, IR and CR. So immediate relative means I am a US citizen. I want to bring my brother, my sister, my mother, my father, my children, my spouse. They are all immigrant visas, and I'm planning to bring my immediate relative. Immediate relative means my wife, my mother, my father are immediate relatives. Family sponsored means I'm planning to bring non-immediate relative. Non-immediate relative is my brother. My brother is a relative, but not immediate relative. So people who are US citizens, they can sponsor their immediate relatives or family sponsored relatives to come to US and stay here forever. It's not like 3 months, 6 months, or 1 year. They can stay as long as they want to stay here. So the first immediate relative is a spouse of a US citizen, child of a US citizen. Child again, there are two different childs. So for example, someone is below 18 years, they are the minor child. Above 18 years, a major child. So bringing a minor child of a US citizen is easy compared to bringing the major child. And bringing parents is easy, and there is no limit here. If you see in the end, I have written no limit means there is no number limit. For different other types of immigrant visas, there is a limit. Only these many number of people can come. And CR visa is for distant family relationship. As I said, major sons, not the minor sons, major daughters above 18 years, and brothers and sisters. And they all come under family preference. And within immigrant visa, again, there is a B, the second category. The second category is a spouse. So someone married to a non-Indian, non-US citizen, and the person marrying is a US citizen, they can bring their spouse on immigrant visa. So the people who are planning to bring their spouse on a permanent basis, but they want them to come here immediately. So it's a K visa. So the K visa is person already married, otherwise planning to marry after coming to US. So there will be extensive interview process in India if someone is planning to come on K1 or K3, because they have to prove they have proper relationship and they are really serious. It's not like a funny business. So K1, K3, like B and C, they are immigrant visas, and the person in US is planning to bring them permanent basis. And the D category here is intra-country adoption. So IR, IH3, IR4, IH4. So here what happens is there is an orphan child in India and someone is trying to sponsor them for lifelong. They are going to keep them in their home and they are going to feed them for free. They are going to buy their books and all the material for free, their clothing and everything, and they have to show their seriousness. So the US government is going to approve the immigrant visa for that particular child. Most of the times they bring the children. So it's a orphan child visa, it's a immigrant visa. And one other thing is certain family members of US citizens. Again, here again you have, for example, someone is a US citizen, their child is in India, and they want to bring their child on F1 visa here. You see, it's a student visa, but it's again immigrant visa here. So you know you are coming here for the education, but the condition is different. If a regular person is coming on H1 visa with Indian passport, they are going to come here as a non-immigrant. But if the parent of that particular student is a US citizen, they are going to come here on F1 visa, it's an immigrant visa. So that's the difference. And certain family members of lawful permanent residents, it's a F2A and F2B. So someone is a green card holder in US and they are planning to bring their children or their spouse or some other relative from India. So there is a F2A and F2B. It's an immigrant visa here. Again, in immigrant visas, there are employer sponsored. So first category was family sponsored. The second category is employer sponsored. So in employer sponsored, what happens is, as I said in the beginning, a company in US, for example, Microsoft or Wipro or Tata Consultancy Services in India is planning to send you to US. One category was H1 category. H1 means you are coming here for long-term employment. You might go back. L1 means you are an employee of Indian company and that Indian company has a work in US. You are coming here to legally work and you will go back. But here, the immigrant visa means the company is planning to send you to US forever. So in this forever category, again, there are E1, E2, E3, E4, and E5. So I have seen a lot of people coming on E1 visa. So what happens is you are vice president of the company in India, and the company thinks instead of you working from India, you have to come to US and work from US forever. No going back. So what they do is they will apply for the immigrant visa under E1 category. So in E1 category, what happens is you will come here and you will stay here forever. One example is you are a manager, you are a vice president of the company, director of the company, or you are a professor in a college. Otherwise, you are doing some kind of a postdoctoral research. You are doing research on cancer. You are doing research on self-driving cars. And company is planning to keep you in US forever. And company has to prove they have all the resources required for approval. E2 means you are a professional, you have some specialty of occupation like H1, but you are planning to come here, but you don't have to be vice president of the company. You don't have to be like, for example, director of the company. You are just a senior executive, otherwise senior developer, senior professional, and you are planning to come to here, US forever. So you are not even, if you are not even and you have extraordinary experience and extraordinary knowledge, education, you can come on E2. For example, you have 10 years of experience in one particular technology. You can come here on E2 and stay here forever. You are not going, if you want to go back, you can go back, but you are not willing to go back. So E3 is again the same thing, but here the number of years of experience is less. So rarely people apply on E3 from India, but those who are already in US, they apply in E3. And I know a lot of people who got approval also in E3. Majority of the people in E4 are they're not coming from India. They are either coming from Iraq or Afghanistan or some other NATO countries. And it's an immigrant visa. They are coming here for the job, and the job is lifelong. The last one is employment creation visa. So here the situation is reverse. Instead of you come to US and look for an employer or a job, here you are going to come to US and you invest money and give jobs to someone. So for example, you have like 5 crores of rupees in India. You want to bring all that money here. You invest here, you open some business and you give employment to American citizens or American green card holders. So that's the immigrant visa, and it's a E5 employment category, E5. And here you are going to give the employment to people living in US. Okay. There are other visas like religious workers, translators. This translator is applicable only to Iraq and Afghanistan only, but religious workers is applicable to everyone. Again, that is immigrant visa. It's not a non-immigrant visa. In non-immigrant visa, we have seen R visa. R visa non-immigrant, but this SD and SR, it's a religious visa, and you are coming here for lifelong permanent residency. There are other immigrant visas. Diversity visa, again, this is not applicable to Indians. If you see, I have listed the countries: Bangladesh, Brazil, Canada, China. So there is India also in this list. So people with Indian passport cannot apply for DV visa, diversity immigrant visa. But other countries, they can apply, and there is a limit here, 50, I think 50,000 or 10,000. There is a yearly limit, and it's a lottery kind of a thing. So people in those countries apply for the visa, and there will be a lottery. And if they get in the lottery, they have to go through the process of interview and everything. And they have to prove they have some kind of ability to come here and work here and live by themselves. So it's an immigrant visa. They are going to come here for life, but it is not applicable to Indians. If you have a passport of any of these countries, you are not eligible. And the last one is in immigrant visa is a returning resident. So someone was having a green card in US, and for some reason they went to India and they stayed there for 1 or 2 years, long time, and they want to come back. So it is a returning residence visa. Before I go to this particular slide, if you have any questions, let's talk about that.
Yes, sir. The thing is, I have a question. I'm planning for student visa. Can my husband join me, or do I have to approach my university to send an invitation to my husband?
If you are planning to come together, university has to send that approval. But if you want to come first and then your husband is going to join later, you can come here, then send the university approval for him. And if you are planning to come together, then you have to get the university approval for you, for your husband, your children, and all of you go together to US consulate in India, and you have to prove you have money, you have resources to support yourself, your education, your spouse, your children in US.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, sir. Got it.
Sir,
Yeah.
last time I gave interview for F1, but this time I want to give one more time, but we are not getting slots. What is the reason, sir?
The reason is due to COVID, lot of people were applying and their appointments were getting cancelled. So last 2-3 years, many people were planning to apply for the visa, because when you talk about Indian consulate, the US consulate in India, there are limited people working in the consulate. Like for example, 15 people working, and only those 15 people can take the interviews and approve the visa, and they are all busy. And some people are applying for the visitor visa, some people are applying for immigrant visa, student visa, so many different types of visas people are applying. So the slots are not getting available. But what you have to do is periodically keep checking, sometimes morning, sometimes in the evening. So whenever they open that slot, you can book. But I know
Yes,
slots
sir.
are.
But if fresher, easily we can get. But we are if anybody is attempted last time, we are not getting.
Yeah, that's the situation. I know this is happening. I'm aware of that. Yes.
Okay.
Sir, I have one question.
Yeah.
So I'm 27, so I have experience of 5 years in same US field, and I'm in a point of confusion. Like if I want to apply to get settled in USA, whether I should go with the F1 visa to get in USA in terms of study purpose, and again, which is very terrific, is like H1B, which is kind of something very impossible sort of thing, and what could be the best option, to get into states for as per
Are
my
you
experience.
are you are you working for a big multinational company?
Yeah, I'm working for one of big four, and I'm working for US taxation.
No. If your company is really big company, that company can apply for your L visa or H visa, H1 or L1, and they can send you to US. That is the best option and quick option. And immediately after coming to US, you can start earning the money. But if your company is really big, but they are not sending, you can change the company, and new company might be able to send you on L1 visa or H1 visa. So option 2. The last option is a student visa. The problem with the student visa is, number one, you have to explain the visa officer after so many years of working why you want to come to US. There's no crime. You can come. If you can convince the visa officer and visa officer is convinced, they are going to give you the visa. Second thing, you have to prove you have money to pay for yourself, your food, your accommodation, and your college fees. Third thing is, after coming here, you cannot earn money at least 1 or 2 years, whatever the education time, you have to spend money instead of earning money. So if you are mentally prepared to do these things, you can apply for the F1 visa. So F1 visa is by yourself. You're not dependent on company or someone. Of course, you have to write some IELTS or TOEFL or GRE, those kind of exams you have to write, get the score. You have to get a acceptance from the university. Those things are there. But you cannot come here and start earning on day one. But if your company is sending, otherwise you change the company and new company is sending to you on this H1 visa or L1 visa, you can start earning on day one.
Okay. I have tried, but I didn't get an opportunity. I have not seen any good way that I can be through my employer.
Yeah, so that's what it is.
Yeah. Thanks anyway.
Right.
I have one question.
Yes.
So recently, like around 5-6 months back, I read it in the newspaper that due to this COVID situations, especially for Indian passport holders, students, the interview process for the visa has been temporarily, it has been suspended or it has been waived off. So is it still being continued, or the visa, the interview is being conducted for students? There's my first question, and the second one is, what is the minimum balance that we have to hold to get through this visa?
Right. So the first question is, interview process is not suspended. Suspended in the sense they are not taking the student visa interviews anymore, but it was like 6 months ago, 1 year ago, it was there. But these days, in last 6 months, last 3 months, I know a lot of people who went for the US visa interviews. Some people got and some people did not get it, but interviews are happening and there is no interview waiver. Like 1 year ago, 6 months ago, they have given interview waiver to some people. For example, my mother was having a visitor visa to come to US and visit me, and her visa was expired. And she is planning to apply for visitor visa one more time. So such people were having the interview waiver because they are planning to come to US on exact same type of visa one more time because it is expired. Only those people got a visa waiver because visa officers were busy, consulate was closed, COVID was there, lockdown was there. So they have given interview waiver to very few limited people. Someone was H1 in US and they worked for 4 years. They went back to India and they want to come back again. They have to get the stamping again. Same person, same visa category, and they are planning to come back. For them, they have given the visa waiver to avoid too much traffic in the consulate. Students coming for first time, there was no visa waiver, but yes, there was suspension in the sense, no more visa interviews, no more visa appointment. That was the suspension was. Second question, you are planning to come to US on a student visa. How much money you have to show? It depends on the college. It depends on the city where you are going. If you see on my screen, I am talking about cost of living here. So in some cities, you will be able to stay in an apartment for $1,000. In some other city, you will be able to stay in US for $2,000. Somewhere it may be $500. So when you are applying for a student visa, which university you are applying, around that university, what is the cost of living? So for example, you are applying in Florida, you cannot say I'm going to stay in California and go to university in Florida, right? So wherever you are applying for the university, in that university area, whatever the cost of living, you have to show you have money to pay for your expenses. Second thing is your university fees. So you have to show you have money to pay for the university fees. Some university is like $10,000, some university is $50,000. So there is no one standard number for everyone. Depending upon university fees, depending upon the city where you are going, the cost of living changes and the fees changes, and you have to show that much of money in your bank account in India, you or your parents. Right?
Thank you.
And there are other few things I want to cover before I conclude. So the visa interview is an important process. Depending upon what kind of visa you are applying, the interview changes. So for example, you are coming on an immigrant visa and you are already married to a US citizen, or you are planning to marry a US citizen in US. So you are going to come on an immigrant visa. So you have to prove you have a genuine relationship with this particular person. And after coming to US, you are going to live with that same person for unlimited number of years, maybe 5 years, 10 years. So that kind of a proof, if you can submit during your visa interview in terms of documentation and in terms of your knowledge, your what you call the questions and answers the visa officer is asking, if you can convince the visa officer, you will get the immigrant visa in US. Another example, my mother is planning to come to US. I'm a US citizen and she is coming on an immigrant visa. So she has to prove I am her son in terms of documentation, in terms of love and affection, whatever you call it as. If visa officer is convinced, she is going to get the immigrant visa. On reverse flip side, my mother is planning to come here on a visitor visa only for a few months and she has to go back. So in visa interview, she has to convince the visa officer she is coming only for a few months, not for the lifelong, because she is applying for non-immigrant visa. If she is applying for immigrant visa, she has to prove I am her son and she's coming here for lifelong. But if it is a non-immigrant visa, she has to prove she is going to go back. One example, my mother is having a government job in India. And she can easily say, I have my government job in India. I'm going to go to US only for a few months because I have a vacation. My mother is a teacher in a school and she has to go back to her school and continue her job. She has summer holidays for the month of May, entire month, May, she wants to come with her son in US. So non-immigrant visa versus immigrant visa, people have to prove they are going to come back to India if it's a non-immigrant visa. And if it's a student visa, the visa interviewer, the officer is going to check. You have money to come here and you are going to go back after your education because it's a non-immigrant visa, right? So visa interview changes from type of job. For example, you are coming on a H1 visa. The interview officer, the officer taking your interview, they are going to check, do you have a university degree? Do you have experience? And is that experience relevant to your job? And the employer in US is a real employer. It's not a fake employer. And they have what we call funds to pay your salary in US. They have genuine business in US. They are paying taxes in US. And the company is really registered. All those things they are going to check during the visa interview for H1 visa. So H1 visa, F1 visa, immigrant visa, non-immigrant visa, visitor visa, type of visa is going to change your interview questions. One other important point people coming to US should remember is climate. The climate is different. The weather is different from city to city. North America versus South America, East America versus West America, Central America, the weather is different. The climate is different. So you have to remember you are going to which city, which place. Are you comfortable with that? You can do your own research, then come. And whenever you have any questions, you can come back and ask me. The next important point you have to remember is cost of living. Even if it is an immigrant visa or non-immigrant visa, H1 visa or a student visa, cost of living is going to dictate a lot of things, especially the visa interview is going to be dictated by cost of living. So for example, you are planning to come for H1 visa and your employer is offering you $30,000. And after coming to US, you will be able to see the apartment rent is $2,000. So if you are paying $2,000 every month, $24,000 a year, and your employer is paying you $30,000. And after paying the taxes, you get nothing. You are working for free, and to eat, to feed yourself, you have to do second job, otherwise you have to beg. So you have to remember what is the cost of living and what is the salary. And even if it is a student visa, cost of living is really important in terms of paying your own cost and also convincing the visa officer. The next thing you have to remember coming to US is the crime. So if you are planning to come to some particular...
Question over here.
What is it?
Sorry, I have a question.
Yes.
The thing is, in other countries, students can earn up to 20 hours per week, right? So why is it not the same in US?
Yes. So there is a law here. Students are not supposed to work, but if you are coming to a university and university is offering you some work, for example, you did PhD in India and you are coming to US as a postdoctoral research scholar. You did masters in India, you are coming to US on PhD. In these kind of situations, in general, university is going to give you a job offer. The job is 20 hours a week. Otherwise, you did bachelor's in India, you are coming to US on master's program, and your university has a work in library to sort the books, to make sure the books are in proper order. And university is offering you that work 20 hours a week, and you can legally work for those 20 hours and get the money from university, but you cannot work outside the university. You came from India and you are planning to work in a gas station or a restaurant legally. No, you cannot. So that is the law. But in other countries, as you said, even spouse can work. For example, you came on a student visa to Canada and your spouse can work legally in Canada, but not in US.
Okay,
So
sir,
the
but
next, yeah.
Sorry to interrupt. The thing
Yeah.
is, I'm having a job over here. I'm working for Cognizant in Google Process. So I'm working since for 3.5 years now. So if I'm going to apply for F1 visa, right? So if the visa officer will ask me about I'm working here since 3.5 years, so why I'm opting for the student visa if I have a job over here. So what should I answer for that?
Yeah, it's really good question, relevant question, important question in terms of student visa. So if you are really serious about your education, you can definitely go for education. After working, for example, 3 or 5 years, you're not supposed to go for education. There is no such rule, right? But you have to convince the visa officer you are really planning to go for education, right? How you will convince? That's the important thing. So I'll give one example. I'll put myself in your situation. I was working for Cognizant for 3 years in India, and after 3 years, I wanted to go for a student visa in US. So what I'm going to tell my visa officer is, I am working for a company for last 3 years. Then I have realized if I do, for example, master's degree, I did bachelor's in India, working for a company 3 years. Then I have realized if I do MBA, otherwise master's in computer science, I am going to get a better job in India or anywhere in the world. For example, I am working for a Cognizant, worker for 3 years. After 3 years, I have realized if I go to US and do master's in computer science, I can become vice president of Cognizant. I can become director of a Cognizant. If I do MBA in US, I can come back to India and become manager in Cognizant. So you have to give convincing answer to visa officer. And I have given you a simple example. So for example, I'm working as a university lecturer in India, in an engineering college. I'm taking the classes. I want to come to US and do the PhD and go back to same college and become a dean of the mechanical engineering department, computer engineering department, otherwise head of the department in computer engineering, right? So you have to convince the visa officer after working so many years, 3 or 5 years, I have realized the importance of education and the getting the degree in US is really adding a value to my career path. If you can convince that, you are going to get the visa. But the second important thing is you have to show you have funds. You can also say that for last 5 years, I am working for a company and I had like 1 lakh per month salary and only 30,000 I was spending, 70,000 per month I was saving for the education. And now I'm planning to go because 5 years ago, I was not having a penny in my hand, but now I have 50 lakhs in my hand. It is my own savings. And you can show the bank statements and your bank statement proves every month you are saving the money, your salary is coming from the company. You have genuine intentions. Your intentions are important. Your visa officer is going to look for the intentions. So the next thing is when you are coming to US, you have to decide to live somewhere. You have to make sure that area is safe. There is no crime. So every city, every zip code in US, you will be able to search online what is the crime rate in that area, what kind of people live there. And if the crime is high, don't live there. If crime is low, go and live there, take an apartment. And one last important point in the whole presentation is doctors and accountants. So the people who did chartered accountant CA, otherwise BCom or MCom in India, if they come to US, they have to write a separate US based accounting exam. It's called CPA, Certified Public Accountant. If you complete that exam in US, you can do accounting practice in US. So for example, someone is an engineer in India and their spouse is accountant in India. When they come to US, they want to continue their accounting profession, they have to do one more exam. They cannot start their career day one. But if someone is an engineer, for example, someone did computer engineering in India and they can come to US and start working without writing any exams. There is a difference between job, accountant job versus engineer job. Same thing for the doctors. The doctors who did their MBBS or MD in India, they have to come to US and write the USMLE exam. And without that exam, they cannot become doctor in US. So that's the important thing I'm trying to emphasize at the end of the presentation. And
Sir,
if you have any questions.
I have a question, sir.
Yes.
Sir, so is there like a can a relative who's staying in the US, can they actually is it possible that they can take us from here, like, because I'm actually completed my engineering, sir, and I have an experience of 1 year in the field of software engineering.
Okay.
Can they actually? He's one of my uncle is working in the same field, sir, in the US. Is it possible that they can is it possible that they can help in the process of immigration?
Uncle, in the sense, they are not close relative to you, right? So they cannot do anything. They cannot do anything. So for example, a US citizen can bring their children, their wife or husband. They can bring their mother and father. A US citizen can bring their brother or sister.
Okay, sir.
Uncles cannot do anything, but like I am explaining the whole process, your uncle can also explain the entire process, and you can get the visitor visa to visit your uncle if he is willing to support, and you can come here on visitor visa and stay for 6 months, less than 6 months, you can go back.
In that 6 months, can I search for some jobs, sir? Is it possible to search for a job? Is it
in 6 months you can attend the interviews and you can get selected for the job, but you cannot continue working here in the job, because if you are planning to work here on the job, you have to get the H1 visa, and these days there is a lot of competition on H1 visas. So you can give the interview, you get selected in US, and you have to go back to India, and whenever that H1 approval happens, you will go for the visa interview and then you can come back.
Okay, sir, got it. It is better to actually go as a student rather than going as a working professional.
It is your choice. Working professional means, as I said, you are working for a big company in India, Microsoft or Wipro or some kind of a big company. And that company is planning to send you to US on a job visa. That is possibility. And every year, like 30 to 40,000 people minimum are coming in that fashion.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. And there are some questions written in the chat. I'm just trying to read them.
Yes.
So someone was asking for the contact details. I have shared on the screen. My email address, my LinkedIn, you can contact me both the ways. I am not planning to give the phone number because people are going to call odd hours. You don't know what is the time in US and you call me, right? So I'm not giving the phone number. You can contact me on LinkedIn or for email. That is the second thing. The third thing is the watch. If you want to watch this webinar, it is recorded. And inshallah, in few days, they are going to upload to YouTube, and keep in touch with me or the CGC team. You are going to get the recording available in few days. The next question is, what is the scope of enrolled agent in USA? It is a certification of IRS, deals with taxes. Yeah, that's what I told just now. I was telling about CPA, Certified Public Accountant. So if you have some kind of a accounting experience in India and you are coming to US, for example, immigration visa, if you want to continue in that accounting field, you have to do that CPA exam, and after that you can start working as a CPA for a company. Otherwise you can start your own business here.
Sir, I have one question.
Yes.
Can I ask?
Yes. Go ahead.
Sir, do you work as a means I want to know, do you give advices before the students give their visa interviews as a visa expert?
I'm not a visa expert. I'm not a visa officer. I'm not a visa attorney or lawyer. But I can advise you based on my experience and also the experience of all the other people who approach me. For example, 6 months ago, I was giving a presentation on student visa. So from my presentation, like 10, 15 people approached me and I am in contact with them. And when they go to US consulate in India, they give the interview and they'll come back and say, this was the question and this was my answer. So based on their question, based on their answer, I have some kind of experience to tell you, if this is the question, this answer is good. If this is the question, this answer is bad. Because based on your answer, they might accept or reject your visa, right? So
Yes.
I can definitely help. I can definitely guide. You have my contact information, contact me, and we are here to help.
Sir,
Okay, sir. Thank you.
hello.
Yes.
Yeah, the thing is, sir, I'm married. So, what are my chances if I apply for F1 visa? Is it a good chance for me?
I know a lot of people who applied for a student visa. They are married. They definitely got the visa. That is my past experience. But one important thing you remember is if you apply for you, your spouse, your children, there are less chances of getting the visa because visa officer thinks, oh, this entire family is planning to move to US and they are not going to come back. It's a non-immigrant visa. You are planning to migrate. So that is one thing. Second thing is, if you are planning together, all of them want to fly on the same day in the same flight, you have to show you have money to support you, your spouse, your children. And I don't know how rich you are, but that is the thing. If you are really rich, for example, you have $5 million in India, instead of applying for the student visa, apply for the EB5. I'll go back to my slide just to show you.
No, so the
EB5.
thing is, I have heard many people have said me that if we have a married status in the passport, so we'll have the rejection chances will be more for us. Is it so?
It's opposite. It's opposite. So what happens is you are going on an immigrant, non-immigrant visa. A visa officer is going to ask one question to all the non-immigrant visa applicants. What is the guarantee you will come back? You will say, I have my children in India, my husband in India, I am leaving them here. I have to come back, right? Number one. Number two is, I am not taking my children, my husband with me. That's why I can survive with X amount of dollars instead of X multiplied by 2 or X multiplied by 4. For example, 4,000 versus 40,000, right? So it's opposite. If you are not taking your family with you, getting a visa is easy compared to taking your family with you. But you have to explain the visa officer in your absence who is taking care of your family. For example, you have your parents and your brother, your sister, your in-laws. They are really affectionate. It's a big family, joint family, and your children have their own cousins. They are going to play with them. They are going to stay here. They are safe hands. That's how you have to convince. But getting the visa along with your children and husband is tough compared to getting the visa by yourself.
Yeah, I don't have kids, sir. Okay, I'll apply for my F1 visa only, but just asking for the information. I'm going to apply for alone only.
Correct. But if you really plan to bring your husband later, that is easy. It's not so tough. Within 3 or 6 months, he can also try. Otherwise, you come here, complete your education for 1 year. After 1 year, in most of the universities, there is a opportunity called CPT, Curriculum Practical Training. Once you get the CPT, you can say, I am working for some employer here. You can legally work for an employer using CPT. And you can say, I am earning money. And once you show you have income, you can bring your husband here because you can support him once he comes here. And maybe he can change his profession. He can start doing some kind of a work for H1 or something. Any other questions?
Yeah. Hi, sir. My name is Vinaj. I just want to know, like, I have already completed my MBA and I have 3.5 years of experience as an HR specialist. So I want to apply for F1 visa, for student visa. So can I apply, like, should I have to show my MBA degree over there, or should I have to apply as a bachelor from bachelor degree?
Many of the times people do mistake. The mistake is you are going to conceal something or lie. You have something and you don't want to show it. No, don't do that. Even if you have MBA in India, you can come back to US and do one more MBA. That is one possibility. Even if you have MBA in India, you can come to US and do masters, for example, masters in computer science.
Okay.
You can tell the university and the visa officer, after working 3.5 years, I have realized my profession is not good. I don't want to be in management, because you did MBA means you are in management, and you don't want to be in the management, but you want to be in technology side. For example, you want to become a developer. You want to become a database expert. You want to become data scientist. You want to become artificial intelligence expert. So you have to convince the visa officer and the university you want to be in a different profession. Otherwise, you want to improve yourself to get the F1 visa. But having MBA degree, having 3.5 experience is not a negative. Anyone can do the education, even anyone can go for the studies anytime. That's what the concept is. Education is not about law. Oh, I completed my education 4 years ago. Now I cannot do. No, you can. You can definitely do that.
Okay. Yeah, that's all.
So I have one more question. Can I ask?
Yes.
Sir, I have completed my bachelor's in civil engineering, BTech in civil, 1.1.5 year ago. And in this gap, I am working as a site engineer. So I want to pursue my master's in transportation engineering in USA. So in the interview, if the visa officer asks me, you have working as a site engineer for 1.5 year and to do your master's in transportation engineering, so what should be my answer?
It's not a tough situation, because your voice was breaking. I am just trying to repeat your question. Maybe I heard correctly. So you completed your bachelor's engineering in civil engineering, and you are doing site engineer job in India, and you are planning to do master's in transportation engineering, and it won't be a negative thing. You are working in profession A for 1.5 years. It's not a long time. In 1.5 years, you have realized this job is not good for me, and you have changed your mind. See, I know some people who worked for 4 years as a HR executive. Then they went for the medical degree and they are doctors today. Real doctors. I'm not just bluffing or trying to give you some false information. So people can change the profession, people can change the jobs, people can change anything, anytime. That is all possible. And it is a realistic scenario. It's not like coming from a novel or something story. It is realistic scenario. People did that, and many people do that. There is nothing wrong. And coming back to your situation, site engineer versus transportation engineer, there is no big difference. It is the same. Even you can do masters in computer engineering, nothing wrong.
Hello. Yes, Minhaj here, sir. Just now you have told that I have just now explained you about my situation. Like I have done MBA and I have 3.5 years of experience, and you told to change that domain. In case I want to continue with MBA only, so in that case, what should I do?
You can tell the visa officer, I did my MBA in India, but MBA in US is having a more value, bigger value, special value. Otherwise, within MBA, for example, you did in what was your specialization in MBA?
HR and marketing.
HR and marketing, right?
Yeah.
So you can say, I am planning to do one more MBA in finance in US.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah. That I can say.
You can definitely change the field. You can definitely modify your profile, and you can again come to US and do MBA in HR, but it will be a big question mark. Why are you planning to do one more MBA in the same field? That is the question they will ask, right?
Yeah,
and you cannot easily convince the officer.
Yeah, correct. So that's what, like instead of telling I have done MBA, that I can say like I have done, bachelor's like BBA. So after that I have, like 5 years of experience, and now I want to continue with my MBA. So that can I say like that?
No, don't do that. Many of the times what happens is we try to conceal some information, but if somehow they will be able to figure out, in your lifetime, you will never get a visa.
Okay. Got it.
I'll give an example. I'm not trying to waste everyone's time, but I'm giving one example. There was one person in India and he wanted to come to US and he was really desperate. So he went to visa officer and he said, I have dedicated my whole life to religion and give me a religious visa. And visa officer was asking, do you have a family? He said, no, I don't have any family. He just gave some false information. After 10-15 years, his own children came to US as students and they settled here. They wanted to bring their father, and now the visa officer is not going to give him a visa because he bluffed. He gave wrong information. He said, I have dedicated my whole life to the religion. Give me a religious visa. And now he cannot go back to officer and say, I have my children. I want to see my children.
Okay.
So any day situation might change. So don't try to lie.
Yeah. Got it.
So the thing is, if we don't add MBA masters in our profile, so what should we say to a visa officer about that 2 years? What have we done over that 2 years?
First of all, my advice, do not lie. Tell that you have MBA in those 3 years of time. But if you really decided to lie about it, you have to again do one more lie. For those years you are working somewhere and you have to show you have a salary, you have paid the taxes, and you have some kind of experience certificate. Again, you have to bring some wrong experience certificate. So to cover one lie, you have to add 4 more. All right.
So I have just asked you about my site engineer and transportation question. When you are replying to the last one, I didn't got due to the network connectivity problem. So could you please repeat that?
Yeah, well, I was telling you, you are trying to get into civil engineering from site engineer to transportation engineering. Both are part of civil engineering branch, right? So you can easily get into transportation engineering. It's not a problem. And you can, if visa officer is specifically asking you, why are you trying to change from site engineer to transportation engineer? Tell him, I am not happy working as a site engineer. I have realized it in 1.5 years. Site engineer job is boring. Site engineer job is cumbersome. I am not happy with it. I am not getting good salary. You can explain 100 things about site engineer and say, I want to get the transportation engineering masters because I have friends who did the transportation engineering. They are happy in their profession. I have seen people working in transportation engineering, highway engineering, bridge engineering, and I'm willing to do that. That is my passion. I have changed my mind. You can explain.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much. I got it.
Right. Yep. So any other question? We can stop otherwise.
No,
All right. Thank you so much. Assalamu alaikum,
Sir,
everyone.
if I have any questions, I will get back to you to a mail, okay? Through mail.
Correct. Yeah, perfect.
Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Right. Thank you so much.
Fasi bhai.
Bye.